Librarian, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a book summary on the book Magnus Chasing the Gods of Asgard, The Sword of Summer, which is the first book of one of the newest trilogies of Rick Riordan. So it's again about Norse mythology, a new different type of mythology that Rick Riordan started writing, and this is the first book out of the 3 books that are published so far. So I'm going to start off with kind of explaining Norse mythology. So Norse mythology is split into 9 worlds, and there's one tree that's connecting the 9 worlds. So the 9 worlds are Vanaheim, the home of the Vanir. Okay, so there are 2 types of Norse gods, the Vanir and the Aesir. So they're like rival tribes, but they're still working together to defeat the giants in Ragnarok. And Ragnarok is basically the time where the giants attack Midgard, which is the home of the humans, and the world ends. And everyone is trying to prepare for Ragnarok and stop it from coming. So the next world is Alfheim, the home of the elves, and then there's Midgard, home of the humans, Jotunheim, which is the home of the giants. Jotun means giants. And then Nidavellir, the home of the dwarves, Muspelheim, the home of the fire giants and demons, Niflheim, the home of ice, Asgard, the home of the Aesir gods, which is the main world, and Helheim, which is like the underworld for the dishonorable dead. So Magnus Chase, he's an orphan who's on the streets. He's poor, and he has 2 friends named Blitz and Hearth. And they're also helpless friends who help him do things. So one day, Blitz warns Magnus that his cousin Annabeth, which you probably know from Rick Riordan's past books, so it's like a crossover, and then so he said that he told Magnus that Annabeth and her dad, they're looking for him because his uncle Randolph wanted them too. So Magnus, he never liked Uncle Randolph. His mom, who died, told him to always stay from Uncle Randolph. So he kind of disliked that guy. But he thought something was fishy, so he ran away, and he went to his Uncle Randolph's house to check if anything was fishy. When he was there, he actually encountered Randolph. And Randolph explains that Magnus is the son of a Norse god named a Norse god, and that his dad lost a sword a long time ago, and he wants Magnus to get it for him. So Randolph knows where the sword is, so he leads Magnus to the place. And he tells Magnus that he has a link to the sword since his dad was the owner of the sword. And so Magnus just reached out his hand, and the sword just flew into his hand. And then when he finally got it, a fire giant appeared named Surt. And he was trying to get the sword because the Sword of Summer was the sharpest sword in the 9 worlds. And it's he wants it so he can start Ragnarok sooner, since the giants want Ragnarok to start. So Magnus and Surt, they fight a bit, and Magnus dies because Surt punched him into the river. And then he got transferred by a Valkyrie to a hotel for the dead, and it's a place called Valhalla, and people people just train for Ragnarok. And there are 2 of these type hotels. There's Folkvanger for the Vanir, and there's Valhalla for the Aesir. So when Magnus gets taken in, 2 demons, they find out that Magnus is the son of Frey, who is the god of spring and summer. So the Sword of Summer, his dad's sword. So Magnus, he meets his cabin mates. Some are X, Mallory Keene, Halfborn, Thomas Jefferson Jr. So those are some of them. And he meets his Valkyrie, Sam. And what Valkyries do is that they find people that are worthy for their hotel, which this one is Valhalla. So when somebody dies, if they die a heroic death, then they can get taken to Valhalla by a Valkyrie to live there and train for Ragnarok. So when Magnus gets there, Blitz and Hearth, they actually appear at Valhalla, and they explain that Hearth is actually an elf and Blitz is a dwarf. And they tell him that that he needs to get the Sword of Summer because there's an island that is containing Fenris Wolf. And Fenris Wolf was a monster that the gods couldn't even handle. And they needed a special rope from the dwarves in Nidavellir to bind the wolf, and it was the strongest rope in the world. So, but the only thing that can cut through it is the Sword of Summer. So probably all the giants are trying to look for the sword to cut the rope so that they can unbind Fenris Wolf. And they need to stop that by first finding the Sword of Summer. So Blitz, Hearth, Sam, the Valkyrie, and Magnus, they go on a journey to try to find the Sword of Summer. So they first meet the goddess Ran, and they find out that the goddess Ran, who's like the goddess of the sea, they convince her to give them the Sword of Summer, which they knew they had because a giant told them for some reason, because not all giants are bad. And then once they got the Sword of Summer, they assumed that the rope was getting untied and it was getting looser and looser over the century, so they needed a new rope. So they go to Nidavellir to try to find the rope. And they go through a bunch of journeys there. It's like 100 pages for the Nidavellir part, so I'm not going to go deep into that part. So they just go to Nidavellir, they go through a bunch of stuff to get the rope, and they finally get the rope, and then they go out to go to the island of the wolf. And the island only appears like once a year. Then that day was like in a few days, but they don't know where it is. So they go to Thor, the goddess of thunder. You probably heard his name, and he says he knows where the island is, but he won't tell them unless they find his hammer. And they were so surprised because he did not have his hammer. And if all the giants knew that he didn't have his hammer, then they would invade everywhere, because the hammer is the only thing that causes them to go back in fear and not attack Midgard. Because Thor's hammer is really powerful, so they can't really defeat it. So if they knew that Thor lost his hammer, then they would immediately attack Midgard. So they try to. Thor has a suspicion where his hammer is. So they go there and they defeat all the villains there, and they don't find his hammer, but they find his staff, which is his like second weapon. So Thor is satisfied with that, so he gives them to the path to the island. He brings them to a group of giants who bring people to the island. So they go to the giants, and the giants bring them to the island, and they're about to unbind or bind Fenris Wolf again, but then Surt appears, and the lead Valkyrie of Valhalla. And the reason the lead Valkyrie of Valhalla was there is because they were in trouble for sneaking out of it, and Surt was there to try to cut the rope. So they the Valhalla team and Magnus's team, they have to team up to go against Surt. So the Valhalla team, they go against Surt, while Magnus's team, they go to bind the wolf. And using Hearth's runestone magic, and what rune magic is like they're these stones, and then you cast them to bring out a specific power. So Hearth uses that stone to temporarily paralyze the wolf, and then Magnus binds the wolf so that he couldn't get out. But meanwhile, the Valkyries, they're about to get defeated, and the lead Valkyrie actually dies. But Magnus, he's the son of Frey, and unlike the other Rick Riordan books where like the main character is like super powerful, Magnus is not really a warrior. He's mainly a healer, and he's a really good healer. So he gives like healing to the rest of his teammates to defeat Surt, and they eventually defeat Surt, and their quest was done. So when he gets back to Midgard, he talks to Annabeth, and as you know, Annabeth, her mother is Athena, the Greek goddess. So they start comparing notes on their life. So Magnus talks about the Norse gods, while Annabeth starts talking about her Greek gods. So that was the end of the book. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and please like this video and click the notification bell to get notified. And thanks for watching. Bye.